Welcome back, Fantasizers. Back-to-back World Cup race weekends. You gotta love it. It seems like we were just here, but this time, this is the Pinkbike Fantasy Downhill presented by Trek recap show for stop number 5, Val Nord, Andorra. Right off the get-go, we have to talk about a guy who got his very first World Cup win in his place where he spends a lot of time, Laurent Vergier. He loves Andorra, Andorra loves him. The crowd went crazy when he got his first victory. Second place, of course, was Amaury Pierron, the guy who we've been talking about all season. He won the last 3 races. He can't make it 4 in a row, but second place by only 1.3 is pretty impressive. A lot of you must have watched the last recap show because I couldn't say it enough. Put him on your team. 1,700 more of you did so. He cost $250,000 just as usual. 40% of you had him on your team, and he brought you 200 bucks. Now, third place, I'm really excited to see this because I'm a big fan of BROOK McDonald, both as a dude and as a rider. He got a third place, so if you had him on your team, good job. Always believe in the Bulldog. LAURIE Greenland backing up his big second place from last weekend with a 4th place here, and Finn Isles finally putting it all together in the elite class. If you've been following all season, we've been talking about it. It's only a matter of time before he was going to get a big result in the elite category. Finally he did. He was only 4.5 seconds back into 5th place. Keep your eye on him moving into the next round on his home soil. More on that later. Let's talk about Lucas Shaw, who qualified first again. He's been doing that so many times this season, but then as it has happened so many times before, he has an issue in his run. This time he crashed, wasn't able to put it all together. That's another guy where you just gotta believe things are going to fall into place eventually. You can't qualify first this many times and call it a fluke. He's on pace. He just needs to put it together in the race run. Let's talk about the women's race. Rachel Atherton up at the start of the course. She goes out of the tape. She ends up finishing in 2nd place, about 4 seconds back, meaning TAHNEE SEAGRAVE takes the win, her 3rd win this season. Rachel's still leading the points in the overall by 80, so it's going to be tense moving into these last few rounds. When it comes to you guys, 6 of you, that's 4, 6 of you were so on point. You won 945 points. 14% of the people had Loris on their squad. The winning team, of course, had Loris on that squad, along with Finn Isles, Amaury Pierron, you listened, BROOK McDonald, Marine Cabarrou, and Monica Rasnick. Finn bringing in 135 points, Loris 250 points for the win, and Amaury, the guy who's been like Old Faithful all season, bringing you 200 points. Now, since 6 people had the winning team, we had to do it again, throw the names into a hat, pull them out, and Xavierette was the lucky. That is luck. There's no skill in that. When your name is in a hat with 5 other people and your name is the one that gets pulled out, buy a lottery ticket because you're doing something right. You got good karma, Xavierette. So I'm sure you moved up the leaderboard, but you're not in the top 10 right now, so you're gonna have to keep going. But for your efforts and your luck, you walk away with a BONTRAGER FLATLINE pair of shoes and BONTRAGER line nylon pedals. 190 bucks worth of gear. Way to go. You can't go crying home about that. That's a good day at the races. But if you want to win that session 9.9, you're going to need some more points. How do you get good points? You buy riders on your team who offer up good bang for your buck. The best bang for your buck in the men was Joe Breeden. He cost $150,000. He brought you 27 points. For the women, it was Veronica Widman. She cost you $100,000. She brought in 130 points. The worst rider to have on your team, big surprise, was somebody who wasn't even at the race. Why did Aaron Gwynn not score you any points? Maybe because he's been battling that injured thumb. We've been talking about it till we're blue in the face. He was hanging out in California during the race. He was probably watching the webcast. He wasn't in the start hut. So if you spent $625,000 on him, which 22% of you did, you wasted your money. I'm so tired about talking to you people about losing your money, wasting your money. You need an economics class. You need to understand that you can't just frivolously spend this stuff on somebody who has an injured thumb and is hanging out in California. They're not in Andorra. Aaron Gwynn will be back for Mont Saint Anne though, rumor has it. More on that later, so don't count him out yet. Change up to the leaderboard as far as you guys are concerned. The fantasy leaderboard. We have a new leader. Lugs83 moves into the lead with 3,785 points, but only in the lead by 9 points. 9 is not a very safe margin if you want to win a session 9.9 at the end of the season. So good job being at the top, but you got to keep on chugging along. There's still a handful of races left. If you want to walk away with that beautiful Trek Factory Racing custom painted Trek Session 9.9, you're going to want a more comfortable lead than 9 points. What about Anarhichas, the one who's been leading for the majority of the season? Well, he's still there, still looking pretty good, sitting in 5th place right now, only 31 points back, so still in striking distance. Next race, Mont Saint Anne, Quebec. Let's talk about who my picks are for the must-haves on your team. 2 riders who have been out who are coming back, who historically have done well on that track. Those 2 being Aaron Gwynn, hopefully his thumb's all healed up. Rumor has it he'll be back. And Greg Menard. Greg Menard has been out with a broken arm. If he's back up to full speed, he does well on that track, and experience can pay off on a historic track like that. These guys have been here year in, year out. This will be Greg Menard's 20th year at Mont Saint Anne. So if you can afford it, put him on your team. But if you want to look back and also point out some history, young riders who haven't won a race yet have historically risen to the occasion at Mont Saint Anne. That's something that's been happening in the past. So if you want to look at a rider who's climbing the ladder right now, look no further than Canadian Finn Isles. He got his first top 5 in the elite category here in Andorra. He'll be racing on home soil at Mont Saint Anne. Can he jump up 4 more steps on the ladder and get a win? I'd say it's worth a shot. Put him on your team. And for the women, TAHNEE SEAGRAVE is an obvious choice because she has 3 wins so far this season, but she also costs $600,000. So if you're looking to be a little bit more crafty, strategize, throw some dice on the table, why not use that same logic we're using for the men? The home field advantage logic. Canada. We're going to go with Finn Isles for the men. Why not go with a woman who got 12th place in Andorra, and she'll also be racing on home soil? Miranda Miller. Home soil advantage, that's a real thing, you guys. The crowd was cheering for Loris in Andorra because he spends a lot of time there. He won. So there's something to that. Save your money, go with Miranda Miller for the women. In the meantime, your deadline isn't until August 9th. So don't take your fantasy career too incredibly serious. Get out, ride your bike, and when it gets closer to August 9th, pull out your dumb little phone, go on Instagram, make sure you know who has hurt thumbs, don't spend a ton of money on somebody who's not going to be racing, and good luck. Get one step closer to that Trek Session 9.9 Trek Factory Racing paint job. It's within reach for some of you, but still enjoy the race nonetheless and get out and ride your bike. Bye-bye, poops.